Having done your crocodiles passage once, we'll now have a look at some of the words that were included in it that may help you with your second speed. Now I hope you remember that when you have a CR together, you don't have to write the R. So you won't go crocodiles because we've got a CR blend. So that one would be cream and crime. So crocodiles is just a cr, C on its own, followed by another CDLS. Do a downward L because it just makes a better joining. Research is an interesting word. So RSR and then CH. What you need to do is watch the length of your R's and your H's. You need to put the H on. I know when we do words like much and such and each, we actually miss the H off, but those are phrases. So with research, you do need to write the whole word, RSRCH. Now you had Australian in there, so AS true, downward LN, 2 lines underneath, letting you know that it's a proper noun. And just because we don't want to get left out, New Zealand is an NZ. So just a little N followed by a Z. South Pacific, so the little S for South, and then you've got PCFC. Can't make it any shorter than that, unfortunately. I guess you could go SP and 2 little lines underneath and hope you remember it. So if you're doing the passage again, maybe you want to make up a symbol. It's not wrong to make up a symbol when you hear the heading of a passage and think, right, that's how I'm going to write that word. Islands, we need to use the full I before the L. If we just use an indicator I at speed, sometimes it can get mixed up with an E or a U. So the full I, LNDS for islands. In the passage we talked about hundreds of kilometres or kilometres. So hundreds you need to write as the word. HNDS of kilometres. KS, make sure you put the S on it. And we had a little funny look at Queensland. So Queensland unfortunately looks like this. QNSLND. Again, like your South Pacific, if you think, right, if I'm going to be writing this a number of times, maybe I can make up an outline. So just QNS, or just QS if you like. I know it says questions, but the sense of the sentence will let you know that it's not. Plus your 2 little lines underneath tell you that it's a proper noun. Sonar transmitters. Sonar's easy, SNR, just get the S inside the N for R. But transmitters. Now remember, trans is TRS. We don't have to put the NS, the N in it, because it's included. So trans, M2s. So transmitters. The last one, we've got the number of 12 months. Because it's a double digit, you can just put it really close to the months and we get 12 months. Right, when we take a look at the word underwater, remember under is a, what do you call it? Prefix right at the beginning. So instead of going UNDER, which would be the word, we can just use UDER. So underwater. So this one would be understand, where you can join it together. But because and it doesn't matter if you join it or disjoin it, because it is a whole word. So underwater. Here we've got receivers, RCVRS, nice word to write. Here we've got satellite images. So you know how to do light, just LT. So satellite, STLT. Images, IM and GS, the S inside the G. Interesting, we had in the dictation 1, 3.8 metre. Now you can either do the 1 as a word, your ON, or if you're going to use the number, remember to circle it. So 1, 3.8 metre. So choose the one that makes more sense to you. We had the number 590 kilometres. So ordinarily you do the 590 as one whole word, so 590. Otherwise you're doing 5, der and 90. So that's a lot more complicated to write than your 590. So hopefully in the dictation it was said as a whole word and you're a little bit behind the dictation, so you can pick that up at 590. 25 days, you've got a double digit, so you don't need to circle the 25. We've got the word survive, S-R-V-V. It's actually quite hard sometimes to get the S-R together. You've got to make sure it doesn't look like an F-R, so survive. And the word ocean, remember we have a full O, but if it's used as a vowel, we cut it in half. So we get the little O, and we can use the shun blend at the end. So that becomes ocean, rather than O-C-N, which looks a little more cumbersome.